The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. The last great Coliseum, the Bristol Motor Speedway. We're in the real world. We're headed here on the clay surface for the dirt track. Here in 100% Division 2, we're taking to the traditional concrete for a 300-lap affair. Let's see who can tame it and be the victor here on the evening. Welcome everyone to PTR TV for the 100% Cup Series Division 2 campaign, our Friday night special here. Well, that's not right, at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Of course, tonight we are going to have a two-man booth here. I finally got help on Friday nights here. Happy to have Jeffrey Souza, driver, in the booth. Driver on Saturdays. He's going to be commentating with me on Fridays. So it's Bristol, baby. Jeffrey, we got this here on the concrete, not on the dirt. Some guys loved that decision. Some guys didn't like it. But whatever it is, it's going to be a whale of an evening.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting race, I think. We got a new tire on these cars, new 1.5 mile tire that we're going to be running here tonight. And I think that could really play some different games with which lane is going to be preferred. You're going to want to save tires and run the bottom, or you're going to want to run high, wide, and handsome up against that wall. I think we're going to find out really quick in this first stage where you're going to want to be.
Exactly that. You know, you have the short-term speed on the top, but the long-term speed may or may not be on the bottom. So kind of the risk and reward tactic to that as qualifying is underway. Of course, qualifying does happen and attached to the server here in Division 2 as opposed to pre-done on Saturday nights. Lucas Hoytsma, always a strong driver, up on the top of the board, 14.7, or rather 14.6, excuse me, has about 2 100ths over Matt DeCunha there, top 7 even, separated by less than a tenth here. So always see those super tight times here on the short track. So you know what happens when you have really close lap times, Jeffrey, makes it hard to pass, and a lot of times that gets the tempers up and riling.
Yeah, and you know, this is a short track. I know it's got a lot of banking, and most people think short track, you know, low banking, flat turns. It's the opposite here. You got big banking and still short straightaways, but pretty big banking in the corners, and it's not going to be as easy to pull a bump and run as it would have been last week at Richmond. So we're going to have to see how these guys are going to decide how to make their passes and how cleanly they want to do that.
We'll see exactly that. That's always the fun of Bristol, but we'll talk about the specifics of that in just a moment. Right now, we got to head down trackside, give you a starting lineup here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. The aforementioned Lucas Hoytsma in the 07 for LME is going to start tonight's race from the front row, with Matt DeCunha on the outside. Pat Gitter, always a fast driver in P3. Randy Drumhiller, one of his best starts in quite some time, the 44 in the 4th spot. Sean O'Brien out of Rhode Island in the 5th spot with Jamie Knopf, probably butchered that, in 6th. Bruno Mello, the Brazilian, in 7th, with Tanner Marty in 8th, and then 9th and 10th you find Kyle Ammon and Wayne Grassi, 2 league veterans.
11th, Jared Bundy in that number 2 car with Cody Birdman in 12th. William Brown in 13th. Heitman in 14th. Corey Mott will run off in 15th with Dalton Mulby on side of him in 16th. John Delaney, always a strong contender here, in 17th with Jason Taylor to his outside. Then Neil Pearson in the 62 had a great run, almost won last week at Richmond, and then Dustin Hall up on the outside in 20th.
I'm still not over that for Neil. I'm still not over that race. 21st, Dustin Hall 22nd is DL Lemon, Clifton Cockrell 23rd. I don't know why the numbers are off here. Damaris in 24th, Jacob Quayle 25th, and then on the caboose here on the evening is Thomas Wolf, the Richmond, Virginia native, of course, last week's track. Our race details here on the evening: 4 sets of tires in the pits. We were just talking about that, Jeffrey. It's going to be a really, really tight call on tires. You're going to have to really, really be very picky on when you put the new Goodyears on. 17 incident limit with some new information that may not come into play. Stages at 85 and 170. Of course, 300 laps here on the docket. And our keys to the race: the new damage model just finally fixed. We hashtag tank mode should be no longer. It's Bristol, baby. As we said, tempers and damage and multi-lanes and how do you pass. And as I said, passing at a premium. A lot of these guys are going to be rim riding. When you're rim riding, it's hard to make that pass on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's true. So these guys starting up front, they're going to want to stay up there. You know, they have that early pit stop, so that's going to be helpful to them as well. Looks like we're going to see here very soon which lane's going to be preferred and who's going to be fast.
Yes, we will. And again, Randy Drumhiller, great qualifying run for him. Bruno Mello was fast last week. And then, of course, you have like a John Delaney who, let's be honest, he's probably not going to run this whole race, but he's going to get that experience and get enough know-how to know what's going to carry over into tomorrow's race. And we'll see where everybody stands in that regard. And Cody Bird was fast in warm-up. Let's see if he can make something happen, have some good luck for a change in that car. I know you're slightly partial to that ride after taking it over last week, Jeffrey here, but Lucas Hoytsma in a new ride this weekend, the Casey's Mustang. He is going to be the control vehicle here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Pace car takes the hard left-hand turn, and Barney has the flag in hand. He gets in the restart zone, waves it, and what a jump from Hoytsma. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he gets a huge jump on the green flag there. Easily going to have almost a second lead on the field. Looks like that was a clean restart as well, surprisingly.
Now, I know Bristol, just by the nature of the high banks, we may have something going on there at the back of the field. Somebody's slowing down rather radically. It's Kyle Ammon. Is that a penalty, or is he just wants to be in the back? I think he just wants to be in the back.
Yeah, he's clear on the penalty board, so just looks like he might be trying to feel out his car and see what he can do here.
What I wanted to say is, just due to the nature of Bristol and kind of the complexity of the restart zone procedures here on iRacing, it is very hard to get a grid restart from the outside, but to get that bad of a restart makes me believe something must have happened there. Maybe he was sleeping, checking his phone. I'm not quite sure, but even for any standards, that was just an abysmal start from the outside lane.
Yeah, I would say I know NASCAR made some different changes this year with where the restart zones are and how long the restart zones are. And this is one of those tracks that you probably would have liked them to make the restart zone a little bit longer there so you can actually go on the straightaway and not in the corner.
Now we do have Andrew Dyson in the pits already. I'm not sure what the dealio is there. Dustin Hall, he is coming into the pits, and I'm not sure what's going on there. We do have the new single pit road, so unfortunately, unlike the real world where they can dual strategy there and pit on one pit under green and 2 pits under caution, they do have to, even under green here, pit the entire distance from turn 2 all the way around to the exit of the entry at turn number 1. So if you make a green flag stop here, you're probably down at least 4 laps.
Yeah, so from what I'm looking at here, it looks like you were saying Dustin Hall there. Dustin Hall started from the pits. So I don't know if he missed the grid there, if he's having connection issues or something, but he started from the pits there, and he is now pulled into his pit stall. And Dyson possibly the same, and then William Brown had some issues there early, spun and got into the inside wall, did get a meatball flag. So it looks like that damage model possibly fixed a little bit here because he hit the he hit the wall pretty hard, but before this week, it probably would have just been some damage and that's it.
I will say the spec map on that car and the color is actually really nice. Kind of has a pseudo color change effect there, so full marks to that for William Brown, whoever the painter is on that machine. But Sean O'Brien Jr. in the 30 machine here on the evening. He is running in the 3rd spot in a sandwich of Gitter and DeCunha. DeCunha has dropped back, I believe, at least 2 spots here. Yep, started on the... He was the one that got the terrible start on the outside, back to the 4th spot. And Lucas Hoytma, I think everybody else has a truck engine in, and he's the only one with a cup engine. 3-second lead. Dyson sideways right in front of the leader. Manages to get control of the vehicle. Wow.
Yeah, I think Andrew Tyson is not having a fun time so far. He looks like me last week in the Saturday night race, 100% race. Definitely not to his liking so far. There'll be changes before tomorrow's race on that car for sure.
Yeah, not the run that he had at Richmond last week. 2 tracks that do drive radically different. Of course, last week's race was kind of, who has the most patience on the throttle. This week's race is more about who has the guts to be in the throttle a little earlier than the other guy, as Randy Drumhiller from that 4th starting spot starting to go down the grid here with new paint on your boy Cody's car. Got the I think we prep it for the food themes tomorrow night with the Jersey Mike's car on the 13, currently running in the 13th spot.
Yep, and Randy Drumhiller, like you said, really good qualifying position tonight. Dropped back a little bit so far, but a lot of racing going on still. A lot of laps left. We got side-by-side action here between Jason Taylor and Wayne Grassi. This is that thing we were talking about earlier with what lane is going to be preferred. These two right now, pretty evenly action here. You see Wayne getting those big runs off the top side, but Jason Taylor using that inside line. It's the shortest way around this track, and he is trying to make that pass on Grassi.
And just behind that, Bruno Mello, where he's like, well, what do I do? Who do I follow? Well, at this point, I guess I just run the middle, get some clean air on the nose of that machine, and just wait for something to happen. Now, Taylor will finally get the spot. Now it's going to be Bruno's turn to try and follow suit. But he will stay back there. Of course, he was, I believe he finished on the podium last week, or I believe he finished 2nd last week at Richmond Indy 2, if memory serves. There goes Neil Pearson with a big wiggle. Oh, into Mobley. That's going to be our first yellow, and we caught that live. Look at my amazing camera work there. Oh my God. Arca brakes by the 69.
Tough break for a couple of those guys there. Dalton Mobley was our biggest mover of the race, I think, to that point, or close to it. Obviously, that didn't work out. So you see Neil on the inside there, trying to push hard, like you're saying, getting the throttle down, gets really loose off 4, drives down into 3, and then into 1, and just overdrives the corner. It just looked like he missed the turn.
Yeah, let's rewind that by a couple seconds here, just to see the T-bone steak there that was created. Oof. Now, we hate critiquing Jeffrey. We don't like doing it, but it didn't seem like he really slowed down for that at all.
Yeah, it might have been, when I was testing this week, there is some nasty bumps in the middle of the turn. So, the incident starting, Neil maybe get in there, hit those bumps, and once you get all that smoke going up, it can be tough to see where these guys are. Yeah. So, I didn't hear anyone calling it out right away where the incident was. So it might just be one of those incidents, he had nowhere to go. The outside was covered, and so was the bottom.
Yeah, from the distance, it was just like, woohoo, hard T-bone wreck there. Well, we already have pit stops here now. I'd be hard-pressed to think that anybody would want to put a set of those very critical Goodyear Eagles on their car. You can see here from Jason Taylor's cam that we have focused on that he did not have a jack go up on that machine, so clearly just getting named. Oh my God, look at the wheel there on Neil Pearson. That you could just infer is not that is not ideal. I think all of us could agree on that. But hey, that's a damage model, folks.
This is very good to see. I I was talking to you earlier before the race started, Corey, and said, you know, I just updated it this afternoon before the race started. So I had not seen any of this damage model really at all. Busy week for me. So seeing it now, so far it looks good. If it's going to be accurate or not, I guess would be a second thing here.
And I completely did not even see that our chat is up right now. Of course, we got Andre and Dan going back and forth in our PTR TV chat, so kudos to them, and I hope everybody else can enjoy the race as well and chime on in with them. But towards the end of that, and I was just about to say it before the caution happened, Hoytsma was losing his lead. He may have had that short run fire off, but it'll be interesting to see with a set of, well, rather a heat cycle on the tires there, how he's going to be able to sustain on this next stint. And what I'm also curious about is, did DeCunha learn what he did wrong last time, and is he going to be awake for this restart?
And like we said, the issue with this is, you know, I don't think they have the restart zones on tonight.
I think they do. Well, actually, you could tell it. You're in sim, right?
Yeah, and I don't see anything saying they are.
If there's a rules tab, then they are. If there's no rules tab, then they're not. But
well, we'll see here if he's sleeping or not.
Yep. Oh my. Yep. He needed a pillow on that one again. But green flag and another half second right off the get-go for Sean O'Brien.
Yeah, and then, you know, I think under the next caution, he's got to come down pit road, and someone's got to give him a Red Bull or something, because he is just sleeping terribly on these restarts. So Hoytsma back out to a good gap here, almost a second lead over O'Brien. Matt was able to fall in line in that third spot. He didn't lose as many spots as he did last time, so that's good. He's got a nice elite member behind him there, and Patrick Getter, who's always been fast this season. He has been one of those guys, top 5 basically every race, Friday nights or Saturday nights. So it's going to be interesting to see here. A little bit different type of track that we've been at all season long. So can these guys that we've been seeing up front every week continue to stay up front and continue to keep that speed? Yeah,
and be interesting to see as John Delaney tries to get up to the 7th spot there with Grassy to his front and Clifton Cockrell to his rear. But kind of what we were saying there on the restart there, Jeffrey. So if you go into your iRacing UI, you know how you have the entries tab and laps and whatever else. Do you see a rules tab?
I do not today.
So that would infer that indeed that start zones are off. So especially that being the case, there's going to be a lot more leeway. I mean, it'd be one thing if start zones were on. In DeCunha's case, that yes, I could see him being super cautious, but if they are off, you have a little bit of leverage and some leeway there. So maybe we can get an interview with him at the stage or at a caution to see what's going on there. But we'll see what he can do. Sean O'Brien up to second by with a 1 second deficit to Hoytsma. Pat Gitter trying to stalk the back bumper of DeCunha. Then Jamie Knopf. That's the best way that I think I'm going to say that. I think it may even be right too, but here comes Tanner Marty in the green machine. You can see different lane choices there, not running to the bottom, and well, Marty was running the top, but he chose to run the bottom. Now he's going to go up to the top, and look at that momentum difference. Easy pass.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations of, we have about 45 laps to go in this stage, so if you're on older, the tires that we initially started, I know a couple guys did take tires on that yellow there, but they're mired far back so far. If you didn't take tires, are you playing that long game? I know Jamie in officials has been one of those guys that can just tic-tac people to death towards the end of a run. So he might be in this situation right now, feeling out the car, trying to find out what he has, and just taking care of those tires, and then hoping the last 20 laps of the stage or so, 25 laps of the stage, to start chasing those guys like Marty, possibly like his elite teammate Getter, those guys down to try to see what he can do long run, and maybe test it out for later on in the stage and just try the best that he can.
Remember the last time I really drove at Bristol in a competitive sense, I did learn that, as we're on board with Delaney right now, if you hook the bottom, and I mean hook the bottom, like Kevin Harvick used to hook it at Old Atlanta, hook the bottom. There was so much speed down there, almost as if there was like PJ1. But if you missed that by about a foot or two, you just didn't have as much bite. It almost makes me think they added some kind of virtual PJ1 to the bottom. This didn't tell anybody, but Bristol used to be a one-lane track right up against the fence, but iRacing did a good job kind of creating that multi-groove racing, maybe even better than we see in the real world. But of course, we won't find that out to the night race. Good side-by-side battle here. That is Thomas Wolfe in the 43 to the inside with DL Lemon in the Bitcoin car to the outside. Bitcoin on a little bit of a rise these days, so doing a little bit better is that cryptocurrency. Not that I'm in it because I don't trust it anymore. But Wolfe tried to clear, but Lemon's staying just in that annoying sense to his quarter panel where he can't clear, but I think he'll get him this time.
Yeah, and you know, like we were saying there, these guys are right outside the top 10. So, you know, stage coming up, 40 laps to go. You want to be in that top 10 at the end of the stage. So these guys are pushing, they're fighting. Derek Heitman wants to be up there with his teammates. He wants to get up there to the top 5, 6 in this field, and he's got the speed to do it. It's just about getting through these guys now after starting mid-pack where he did.
Indeed the case, but one thing I want to make some light of at the moment is we'll switch the ticker over to lap times, and well, of course, because I switch it over, they're not going to be what I expected them to, but the lead for Hoytsma was close to a second, but Sean O'Brien has got it down to a half second, and I can see Gitter looks like, oh, actually look at Delaney in the 2s when our leader is in the 4s, so Delaney doing Delaney things already. If that's the case, if he has 3/10 on the field, you know, versus a Hoytsma who is always one towards the front of the field, and you know, watch out everybody else. And this time by, still fastest car on track, and he was making a pass. So that's going to be a big rip to everybody else if that sustains.
Yeah, and like we said, you know, a person like John Delaney, you expect him to be up front. You expect him to be one of those top tier drivers every week. You know, last week at Richmond in the Saturday night, well, in the Friday night race, he was fast, ended up pulling off in the first stage. And Saturday night, he had that speed. He was up in the top 3, and I made a questionable pit call towards the end of that one, put himself back there with me towards the rear, and it hurt him. So, you know, is he testing those? You know, we saw Adam Benefield last week at Richmond. He told us when we talked to him when he was in Victory Lane that he tested going to the rear and driving through the field like he did. So is that what Delaney's doing right here, trying to get an idea of what he'll need tomorrow in that car if he does have to go to the rear? So far, it looks like he has whatever he's going to need because he is mowing these guys down.
Yes, he is. And that's just here we are with some lap traffic for the first time on the evening, and lap traffic at Bristol. That is something that brings the field together. There's your boy Cody Bird. The slow service of Jersey Mike's translating into the speed of the vehicle here on the evening. Takes 20 minutes to get a sandwich, and want that car going at the same rate of pace as he's going to go a lap down here in the 19th position. He's just going to open the door, and the Casey's car is just going to sail right on through along with Gitter to the outside. And I don't think the free pass is going to be up his cards either, because we're going to have probably at least another 1 or 2 cars go a lap down in the next 30 laps, I would have to infer. But that lap traffic did give Sean O'Brien about 2 or 3 tenths to play with now, only 3 tenths back.
Yeah, and it looks like Cody's just really struggling right now for some rear grip. So in practice, in talking to some of these guys, that was the big thing. You know, if you run that outside lane too long, you're going to start wearing those tires. You know, these guys have pretty big gears in the car. You're turning a lot of RPM. If you end up about, you know, 20, 30, 40 laps into this on the tires, if you burned up your right rear, you are going to start feeling it, and it's not going to be good. So right now that looks like what Cody's struggling with. Looks like he just tore those tires up off it, and you can tell everybody's passing him, so he's dealing with it. But it looks like John Delaney has now made his way up to second.
Yep, doing Delaney things, which is go fast and embarrass everybody else with how much better your car is.
Yeah, that's just, you know, from starting where he did all the way back there in the 17th position, to already be taking the lead is wild. You know, in a real race, I don't know if you'd see that, but here in iRacing, the lanes you're able to run here, everyone's able to run wherever they want to run. I think what really helped them was that first caution we had, and it looks like we have another caution now. I spoke it into existence.
And I see Jared Bundy is going slow with a slightly damaged vehicle, so we'll take a gander on the replay. Oh, there we go. That is the 25 of Kyle Ammon to the inside of Bundy through 1 and 2, and looks like Bundy kind of shut the door on him, but Ammon already had the position, and Ammon didn't lift and didn't necessarily have a need to. I mean, he kind of had the position, in my opinion, but it's also the kind of risk that you play early in the race. This is it's kind of a risk you play. Let's see if we have pit stops, and I'll finish that thought because it may be a point of contention. Nope, staying out. But yeah, so it's a risk you play because you kind of want to prove a point sometimes. You know, I'm there, I have the lane, give me space, and you have the right to make that point. But early in the race, you know, the risk versus reward of making that point sometimes ends up leading to a wrecked race car, whether on the other driver's behalf or on yours. So definitely a kind of a rough edge to walk on.
Yeah, I personally think at this point of the race, you know, first stage, unless there was anything prior to that, which I haven't seen anything prior to it. And you know, that's a point right there where if you're Kyle Ammon, I know they were racing, I want to say right there for 10th position, right for that stage point. It looks like they were racing for 10th. So, you know, we're coming up to 20 to go on the stage. Maybe just you wanted to get up there to 10th and take that extra point away. You know, with an incident limit of 17, to be racing that hard this early is not the best decision, I would say.
Oh, that is a very carbonated soda. Not a beer. But yeah, but I completely agree. It's just, like I said, you want to prove your point. You want to, in the words of Tom Petty, you won't back down. But luckily, in the case of Kyle Ammon, the recipient that got the worst end of it was not him, which sometimes it does actually work out like that. But in terms of pit stops, Jason Taylor I think he made another 5-second quick damage pit stop. I didn't see tires go up on anybody of relevance, but that is because we're going to have another caution in 20 laps, and these guys will have to figure something out that can be changed in the pits that'll make their car better, or B, all plot some massive scheme to make sure Delaney doesn't win this race, or option C, just hope that he quits about on lap 150 when he gets bored and he already learned everything he needs to learn.
That's very, very possible. That last one you just said. We've seen him do that before, a couple weeks now in a row. So that's probably what he'll do for at least the benefit of these guys.
Of course, there are some drivers in the league that are taking this as a full championship and they want to win it, and a lot of guys are just using it as a testing ground. So other guys are using it to try just to get wins because they can't win on Saturday nights. A lot of mix of strategies and intents here, but let's see what happens on a restart. Outside did not get going as well as they would like to, but definitely better than the first two restarts have gone. And Delaney will get a quarter of a second right off the get-go. Sean O'Brien within 2 car lengths, and then Lucas Hoytsma in the 3rd spot. And you can see the line difference there with Pat Gitter running the fence there in the 4th spot.
Yeah, and you can obviously see here that it looks like that outside lane is just going to be a trouble spot for these restarts. You know, like I said, you know, these guys are on old tires and they're returning a lot of RPM. So if they're restarting in, you know, first gear or high second gear, maybe the guy on the outside is just a little worried. They don't want to step on the throttle too hard and spin the tires and wreck somebody.
Fueling up the digger can here at Bristol, turn number 4. You can see all those lines at play here. Per request, we'll leave the lap times up on the screen for a few laps. You can kind of get some trends of what laps your favorite driver may or may not be running, get a scope of the pace that they may or may not have here. And it just definitely looks like here from the lap time ticker, just look at that. Just look at that, Jeffrey. Everybody else is in the 6s for the most part. And Delaney ran a 2. I mean, is that even fair?
That's really something. When I was testing this week, I went through and tried a few different setups, and on the original one, I was probably 40 laps into the run. I'm sitting there running 4s and 5s, and I made a few small changes, and all of a sudden I was 2 to 3 tenths faster after 40. So maybe Delaney just has that little bit of some extra changes there. We did start the rear, so he did have a chance to save a little bit of tire too. So could be that. He didn't run much of the outside lane. He's pretty much been right down there at the bottom the whole race.
So he ran the bottom in 1 and 2. Well, actually, he changed it up that time. Last time by, he was top 3 and 4, bottom 1 and 2. That time by, bottom 1 and 2, and about a lane up in 3 and 4. Now he's going to change it again. So he's either just... And this is what he's doing. John Delaney is using this as a test race. He's not using this as a I want to win race. He's using this strictly as a test race. And he's definitely getting some very helpful knowledge here. Then you have guys like Pat Gitter, who, he's going to be there tomorrow night. He's going to be a competitive driver. He's using it as a test race, but he's also using it for a chance to win the race and for a chance to try to win this championship in the series. You have all these different dynamics at play with the goals of the drivers in D2, which makes it interesting and probably a little confusing as well, because some guys are going to race you completely different depending on what their goals are.
Yeah, and like you're saying, test session. That is a great way to
call this race.
And Kyle Lamont on the other side of the last caution. This time it was him going spinning.
Let's see what the cause of said caution was. Nope, it's not what I thought it was. Kill the drama. Bitcoin crash. But that was the best possible way to spin, because very little damage, and he keeps on trucking.
Yeah, and I think right there, that's just a short track kind of deal,
Yeah, the check
you
up
see
there.
Matt up there checks up, Kyle lifts, and Lemon not able to lift in time.
I'm just waiting for Andre in chat to comment on the fact that I said Bitcoin crash there. Thought that was a pretty good pun. Now, it'd be interesting to see it. I don't know if you can get an admin call on this, Jeffrey, that this caution's going to be just really kissing with the stage, and you can see kind of a split bag here. So I'm assuming we're going to have kind of a stage green-white checker, unless this runs long. But Pat Gitter stays out, Heitman stays out, Marty stays out, and everybody else. You can see they're running the apron in 3 and 4. They have to circle all the way around between both pit roads, and that'll be the situation here.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be the end of the stage. I think we will have a short run here.
So I'm presuming that they probably will get the 2 to go call this time by, I would infer, which would mean we're going to have exactly a stage green-white checker, a 2-lap dash, and fresh tires are going to be probably in 4th or 5th, so this is going to go very well, don't you think?
Well, it's going to be dependent on how much these guys want to race for, I think. Some of these guys want to race for a little bit more than, if they're racing in the series for actual points, then they might actually race hard here, and they want to get those stage points. If they're just racing to find out what they have for tomorrow, then they might just ride around and make it to the end of the stage.
I think that goes akin to what we were just saying. The goal of what you make of this series will dictate the decisions that you make. So, be interesting to see. But Gitter. So let's just kind of summarize this up with visuals, because that just makes life easier for everyone involved. 82 laps. So No pit stops for Gitter, for Heitman, for Marty. DL Lemon did stay out, but he did pit at a prior time, as did Wolf, as did Drumhiller. And then Wayne Grassy, he is also on his original set. Jared Bundy, he pit at a earlier time. And then Corey Mott also. So basically, actually, I take that back. The fresh tires will be that there in the 10th or so position.
Yeah, so we might get some action towards the bottom of the top 10. I don't think they're going to get to the leader before the end of the stage, which looks like Getter and Heitman, the two EPI cars, will restart side by side this time with Tanner Marty and DL Lemon was involved in that yellow up there in 4th.
And we'll see what happens in the Geico restart zone this time by. And leader took the outside lane. First time that decision has been made, but the result quite favorable. And let's take a gander on what happens with the fresh tires there as we have 2 to go in the stage, that is.
Yep, and we see them trying to make every lane work, but like I said, you don't want to kill those tires on a 2-lap dash. You want to try to take care of them and get there and stay out at the end of the stage. So Getter leading Heitman by a good margin here. Looks like he will be able...
Thought he took a stab at it, not going to get it. We'll wait for the final caution to come out. John Delaney got up to 7th there, and that is our stage break. So the call works in Gitter's favor. He's going to get the points, and again, that just shows he is going for the long game here with league strategy. So he's going for that playoff point. Actually, we don't have playoffs in this series. So I'm assuming the stage points just get added to the overall points, but they don't actually have playoff implications, so we don't have playoffs in D2. But either way, more points is always a good thing. And now he is going to go from being on the top of the castle all the way back to the bottom of the castle, because not that many guys are going to be coming to the pits this time by.
And, for the people that were already mid-pack that weren't going to get stage points at all there, it works out. You do get at least a few. I think Tanner Marty was outside the top 10 there, so he'll grab a couple up there in 4th. Wolf was outside the top 10. He'll grab some in 5th place. So these guys that are racing for points in this league on Friday nights, it works out for them. And the ones that are just out here trying to learn stuff, now you have that chance to restart in traffic. For Getter, he wasn't really in traffic at all that stage. He was basically up there in the top 5 the whole time. So this will probably drop him, I would say, outside the top 15 for this restart now. So going to possibly learn something for tomorrow night and figure out what he needs to do, if anything, to get a little bit better.
And it looks like that is Jacob Quayle. He is the lucky dog. He will get his lap back. Or one of his laps back, that is. Also worth noting, Cody Bird did get back on the lead lap. Remember, he went a lap down, but the sequence of late stage cautions did allow him to fetch one. But circumstance and the pit stops have given DL Lemon the lead, with Thomas Wolf to the outside of that front row. Whoa, the senior of the race, DL Lemon is.
Yeah, this is interesting for those two cars to stay out again. Just if we can bring up that graphic here to see or try to estimate how long their laps are, or how many laps are on their tires. So 27 right there for Lemon. Trying to get some information here if he actually took tires or not. I got my reports down in the booth asking me. But then Wolf as well, a lot of laps on those tires. I'm not exactly sure what their idea here is. If are they going to be able to make it? Obviously, fuel wise, I think they should be fine to make it to the end of the stage.
Yeah,
but tires,
I'd imagine like 160, I think they say, is a Bristol fuel load typically, so that should be fine. But just bringing up the point, 4 sets of Goodyears, 4 sets of Dr. Feelgoods sitting on the wall here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So you have 2 stages, so you're going to, presumably most people probably thought they were going to take 2 sets right there. And then that leaves you 2 strategy sets, if you will, to encompass the rest of the race. And you want to leave them for the end, but you also don't want to have that extra set laying on the wall when you could have had some freshies on there. But we'll see what happens. John Delaney is in the 3rd spot. And what we're going to do for this restart, we are going to go quiet and have some temporarily loud engines. Well, somebody interrupted our temporarily loud engine sounds. How dare they there? I don't know if you got a cue on that for me, Jeffrey, because I did. Well, it looks like it may have been Damaris based on my telemetry data.
I think our friend Cody Bird might have been involved in that one, sadly.
Cody.
The bad luck of the 13 car continues.
All right.
I think someone might have said last
Finally,
week it needs to be put in some holy water.
What
It
in
looks
the
like
world?
it's still needs to be.
All right, let's see what we got going on here. Cody to the outside, Dustin Hall to the... Oh, he hit the wall on the straightaway, and he took Corey Mott for a ride along with him there. Get one more shot of that.
And like we said, big runs on the outside there. Obviously got a bunch of ground up on Cody or Corey, and
It's like,
just
I am
the
not
gap
wrecking by
closed.
myself. I must take someone down with me.
And so let's now the real estimate of this damage model is, last week at Richmond on Saturday night, we had someone who got into me about midway through that race and ended up with a black flag meatball.
Here's a good look right here, because he was in the wall pretty hard. Now, it looked like that right front may have been cambered in a non-favorable way, but we didn't get to see it for very long. And Cody Bird. Actually,
His car looks pretty good.
Actually, the tire, I think that's the natural camber as it is, may have just been what I was looking at there, because the tires are quite cambered here. But yeah, in terms of actual body work, I don't see any issues, but that, at least, that was not a hard impact, so it would not be a surprise to have that impact be, minor for all involved. And
Yeah.
we have John Delaney in chat right now saying that was all Ross Chastain's fault. So
I believe it. I agree 100%. We saw the one car right there in the picture, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's behind the wheel instead of Dustin Hall.
I'll tell you, my favorite one was it was a Ross Chastain Meteor that took the Dinosaurs out. I don't think that was the favorite one I saw over the course of the week versus a week of memes there. There's a couple that were a little bit I mean, I saw one that Ross Chastain was transposed over Sterling Marlin and Dale's wreck. I thought that was a little tasteless, but maybe I'm just old.
I think we need to get ourselves somebody like that in 100%. So if anybody wants to be that type of person, let us know, and we will start labeling your name as just Ross Chastain from now on. And that's what we will call you. So just let us know, message us privately, and we'll get what we need to be done on our side.
Well, the thing is, it has to be someone who causes a lot of wrecks, but is also super competitive and can win almost every week. I don't know if we have guys that wreck every week. I mean, Cody's right there. But you gotta have someone who wrecks frequently, but also can win. So.
Sounds like young John Delaney.
Oh, well, I don't think he's in chat because he has a restart. Let's see if he could get a good restart on the outside. Answer to that question is a resounding yes. So it can be done. Green flag in the air, and will not take very long for him to go and surpass the Bitcoin Chevrolet. Or, I mean, DL's putting a fight on the bottom. But here, oh no, that was a tight call there. Hoytsma had the space. DL maybe was not aware of it, but they all do come out of it in one piece.
Right, and now if you're DL Lemon and you're Wolf, what you're doing now is just trying to maintain. You know, you are on those about 25 lap old tires compared to these guys. You want to get to that point where that fall off is going to slow down to get to that podium spot. So, you know, you were running outside the top 10 before you stayed out. You got stage points. Now the hope is to at least shuffle back to where you were, you know, 12th to 15th there and not drop any more spots before the end of the stage.
What is DeBarris doing trying to fight till they get in the top 10 here? It's not Friday the 13th. No, it's not. It's only the 7th, so it's a short track, and he's trying to get in the top 10, so, you know, something's going on there. DL starting to drop back even further. Jason Taylor, he is trying to surpass and put him back one more. Then we're just behind that side by side with Thomas Wolf, who he had a good recovery. He was one of those, he was running in the back earlier, but finds himself now trying to hang on to a 6th place spot. But Matt DeCunha, our outside pole sitter, has the inside lane. I'll tell you, these guys are really threading needles here trying to clear themselves on corner exits.
Yeah, you know, we've been talking about the whole race. That outside lane, you can get huge runs up there. Huge enough that, depending on how good your spotter is on iRacing, your spotter might not call it out as quick as they probably need to. So if you get a really good run off the top lane on somebody and you just get to their right rear before the exit of the turn, the chances that they'll know you're up there is very low. So that's another thing we got to take in figure here, that as bigger runs they're getting, the spotter might not be able to let them know that that person's out there.
And there's some settings you can do in the back end to kind of create a little bit tighter of a spotter bubble, but at the end of the day, it's still automated. It still has a little bit of latency to it, but Lucas Hoytsma, I don't know if they made some adjustments or he followed Delaney's line and figured something out, because he is making some headway on him. But we never got to go over our weather conditions here on the evening, so do want to do that just now. 83 degrees in the air, a little bit toasty, which is complete opposite as to what real Bristol is right now. 101 track temp and virtual time. Of course, have to convert that to standard 12-hour time for us non-military folk. But 4:23 sim time, so should remain a day race here. Probably push this towards, I would imagine, 6 o'clock sim time to end this one.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to get into a position where we're going to have any lights coming on. I think 6 o'clock's a little bit too early, especially for the amount of time that we are here now. In the springtime, you know, sun's probably going to set around 7:38, I would say. So,
well, let me tell you,
you're going to get a little bit of probably...
Let me tell you this,
red.
Jeffrey. If this thing goes green, which we know it won't because we have one automatic caution, this rate, my estimator here is telling me this race is only 47 more minutes. So,
well, that would be we'd be getting done pretty early tonight. So
that's if this goes green, which, you know, we're going to have at least one caution, but we got to be real here as opposed to fake. As you know, side by side battle here as DeMaris. You know, I said he was going for a top 10. Well, now he's back to 18, so now we're back to where he's supposed to be. William Brown, nice recovery there. Well, not really recovery. He's still 2 laps down, but let's get it back if we have enough yellows. But, you know, it turns into a situation where when we only have 20 cars really actively on track with varying paces, I think we will at some point get into kind of a Richmond syndrome here, where we are eventually going to get spread out unless they wreck each other as they almost did there. We're going to get spread out. We're going to get handling coming into play. And when there are only 20 cars on the track, you know, everyone's going to be in their own little bubble. And when that kind of happens, you really can tick off some laps in a hurry.
Yeah, and, you know, it's not too slower than what we were last week at Richmond, only about 6 seconds. But when you're going around a place at 15 seconds, roughly 15 seconds per lap, it goes by quick. It's very easy. I would say of all places to test, this is the type of place that I like to test, because if you want to get a 30 or 40 lap run in, it's only what, maybe 10 minutes
Yep.
total. So, you're able to get a lot of good data on a setup without having to do at a 1.5 mile, a 30 lap run, 40 lap run that's going to take you, 25 minutes to take, to do a full run. You can only do so much testing by yourself. So if you're testing by yourself, working on a setup, these are the tracks you want to run at, because you're going to get that data for your tire wear and your tire temps a lot quicker, and be able to make a lot more changes to help your setup.
Hold on here. Sorry, Kevin. Wait, this isn't a Ford. If you're reading... we got to figure out what that hood says. If you're reading this, I picked the wrong car. Sorry, Kevin. Hey, at least the number matches though, so kudos. And I just, the kind of the spiral cam here kind of gave me a little bit of a dizziness trying to read that, but sometimes the worst schemes are the best schemes.
Yeah, I think that's a paint scheme of the year candidate right there. I like how it's very simple. They're nothing fancy, nothing drawing your eyes away from it. It's just right there and in your face.
And for the benefit of everybody, I did make sure that the paint scheme box was checked in the graphics settings, because last week I forgot to I'm on kind of a big update here, so my broadcasting setup is completely upside down and backwards from where it was 2 weeks ago. So my graphics settings, I didn't have custom numbers on last week, so we had a lot of iRacing defaults in the race, but luckily none of those have found themselves here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, as we are already, again, we just talked about how fast you could tick laps off here. Just as we finished the stage, we're already 40 laps to the next stage, which 40 laps realistically is only about 10 minutes if this thing stays green.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of give and take here tonight. I know we had a couple incidents early on, but there's a lot of give and take. People are getting runs on each other. They're giving each other room on the exit of the turn. They're not pushing hard on the entry, and they're giving up positions when they realize that they're struggling a little bit. So hopefully this translates to tomorrow, and tomorrow's race can be a quick green to checkered minus the stages type of race. We're going to see a lot of these guys that are here tonight. They're going to be racing tomorrow too. So they're learning what they need to do to give people room, I think, tonight, and hopefully that'll translate to tomorrow. Okay.
So lap 132 here on the books here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Delaney, remember, he was holding on to a thin margin over Lucas Hoytsma, but he has turned on the jets, which Delaney doing Delaney things. Is anybody surprised about that? Pulled away to nearly a second here, and he is coming towards the end of the field. That is Damaris, who talked about him fighting in the top 10, and here he is about to go a lap down.
Yep, and I think we're going to take a second now, since we got some clean green racing, to thank one of our sponsors here tonight for the D2 100% races. Souza Media jumped on board this week. They will be sponsoring the rest of the season, partly during the races. And Souza Media, we'll take a break from Souza Media to check out this yellow. It looks like Wayne Grassy. It's trouble.
I don't know if the media company does rec videos, but there may be one queuing here in the bowl for you to do something with Wayne Grassy to the bottom of DL11, who finds himself basically in every rec replay I think we have in some capacity or another, whether it's his fault or not. In this case, I don't think it was his fault. Let's find out together, though. I think that is just two cars fighting for the same spot. We may have to go to the chopper cam and give a final verdict on that. Perhaps even the blimp cam, I think. Yeah, blimp cam is more of a top-down perspective. Let's figure out whose commentators issued fault this is. Whoa, yeah, big wiggle from Grassy down there on the bottom. So Not too hard of a call on that one. And let's see what the verdict is with the pits. And Hoytsma's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Actually, I may have to have you do a little bit of recon for me, because my graphic is telling me that Delaney just pit 2 laps ago.
I don't think that's correct.
Neither do I.
I do see that Hoytsma pitted, but I don't see John Delaney on pit road, and I don't think he pitted anytime soon. So that might be.
Yeah, it would be lap 134-ish, but. Yeah,
I think what we're seeing there is when they wrecked in front of him, I think he clipped that blue line a little.
Yeah, because actually what dictates that is, so if we pull up this graphic here, which he was in the pits for 0.6 of a second. So, you know, the annoying thing here for me on the back end, and for ultimately you as the viewer, is now my stint data for John Delaney, and actually Matt DeCunha for that matter as well, is very similar situation there. Is now my stint data for him is completely wrong until he pits again. So, but I believe it's akin to everybody else. I mean, he's been out there for about 50-ish laps, I want to say, because everybody else, Jason Taylor in second, he has been on his current load for 59. So I'm going to take a gandering. He's right in that same ballpark, but the data will not show us that.
Yeah, and that's just one of those tough spots there where the wreck was middle of the racetrack there. Those guys dived low. They just clipped that blue line, and technically that means they're in pit road. Obviously, they didn't get any service done. If they did, that would be one quick pit stop and some quick pit crew, but obviously not.
Right. We'll let you finish your commercial there, by the way.
Yeah, so under caution here, Souza Media. Check him out on Facebook, and they're on the website as well. Souza Media does a lot of different things, helps general business practice at all. You know, if you have a, say, a lawn business, a lawn mower business, any type of business that you have, they will help you with it. If it's making websites, if it's making a Facebook page, if it's just putting out your information, you know, helping you get sponsors. If you're a race team as well, they'll help put together sponsor packages to help you get where you want to be and help you sell stuff as well. They'll set up shops. Anything you need to get done that has to do with media, check out Souza Media. Great guys over there, and they're big help for us tonight.
Kudos sponsors who help out with the league. Green flag in the air once more. Delaney chose the inside lane, as many have here on the evening. And Jason Taylor, highest he's been up here in that second spot. Hoytsma all the way back to the 14th spot, but he did pit affirmatively, so that is a definite piece of knowledge here. And he is in the middle of the hornet's nest. That's Jared Bundy. He's trying to get to the outside, almost forced to 3 wide. You can see Randy Drumhiller there, who got a phenomenal starting spot for Drumhiller. Has not been able to do anything with it in the race, but look at Hoytsma just slaloming through the field on those fresh tires.
Yeah, and you know, this is going to be that weird situation of, we discussed it earlier. You know, you had those, what was it, 3 sets in the box, I think, 4 total for tonight's race, or 5 total, 4 in the box. So he's already gone through, I think, 2 of those. So if he takes that last set at the end of the stage in about 25 laps, you know, he only has 1 set for those last 130 or 100 lap, 125 probably when we get to green. So
look at him. He's got the bullet bill, the golden mushroom, whatever you want to call it. Man on a mission.
Yeah, and I don't want to, jinx him. But if we stay green here, I don't see any way he's not making it back up there to the lead and stealing the stage win.
So this, basically, if this was in stage 3, this is what you call pulling a Pearson. I guess there's a name for it. Use your set of tires early in the stage, pray it goes green, and if it does, the race is automatically yours. So, pulling a Pearson. There we go. I guess that we keep that one in the league. I'll take royalties for it. But here he is up to second. only a second and a half behind Delaney, and on the stopwatch, we'll see what it is. Delaney ran at 2. Of course, Hoytsma had a lot of carnage to evade and drive through, but a 14.9, so 0.4 a lap, 0.3 a lap faster versus our number 1 driver at the moment.
Yeah, those tires obviously mattering. Delaney and those other guys on tires from right before the stage end there, so around lap 80 or so, about 70 lap
half
old
second
tires.
That lap.
So, we saw this fall off at the end of the stage as well, when some people took tires and others didn't. You saw them really fast. The difference was then they only had about 3 laps to make the difference. Lucas Hoytsma has almost 20 left in the stage here.
Yes, he is. Now, what's he going to do at the stage? Is he going to burn one more set? I mean, your guess is as good as ours. Here he goes to the outside, and he's going to wind up, and he's going to use that run and lead change Lucas Hoytsma back to where he was for about 59 laps on the evening. But he is going to be back there, and he will be in a good position to get the stage if he could stay up there for another 17 laps. Corey Mott in the fence right in front of Delaney, who had to check up hard to evade. Not that Hoytsma needed a buffer, but now he's going to have a couple more tenths as Delaney had to check up hard there.
And, if you're Lucas, and, this is another thing about this race tonight, if you're not racing for D2 points, you don't worry about the points in this series. Is it a call right now that you're out there in the lead, you're as fast as you are, there's only 15 left in the stage, do you start backing it down now? If you want to stay out and test out for tomorrow night, what's a 25 lap old tire is going to do, with him doing here, you're so much faster. Just start backing up and then test it, stay out at the end of the stage, and it might bite you, it might not, might teach you something for tomorrow if we get a long 30 lap run and we have a short short run to the end of a stage or short run to the end of the race. You now know what you have on 20 lap old tires, 30 lap old tires.
Yeah, I mean, I've always believed in that strategy is when you have a big lead, there's no need to, you hear of it in football where, you might be winning 70-2 or 70-3 and you're in field goal range. I mean, do you really need to go for the Hail Mary when you have a huge lead? I mean, you don't need to pad it in racing. When you pad it, you're taking a risk or you're using unnecessary resources. So you may as well back it down, save the tires, just do what you need to do to keep the lead. Hell, if that means match Delaney's pace, match Delaney's pace. Just do what you need to do to stay in front of him, because you're going to need every last bit of rubber on those tires, presuming he stays out for stage 3.
Yeah, and it's a tough call because you can, if you want to, stay out here, and like I said, you learn something. But there's some guys out here that they don't care about learning anything, and they just want to go for these points. So if you're Lucas, do you want to just burn that set of tires? You're still going to have one left, and for 120 laps or so, that one set of tires can probably get you by, assuming we don't have a rash of yellows. So he's in a spot here that I think he can do whatever he wants basically when this stage yellow comes out. He can pit or he can stay out. It just depends on what he wants here at the end.
Corey Mott into the fence there. He is on the struggle bus right now, but he's fighting in that 20th spot. Cody Bird did pull it behind the wall quite a while ago, but we never pointed it out, as well as Dalton Mobley, rather, are those the only two behind the wall here on the evening. Bruno Mello making a pass there on Sean O'Brien, and into the fence is O'Brien. Some guys having some issues with the transition off of the corners onto the straightaways, which this is one of those tracks, and it's Corey has to rant once every broadcast, where this track does not have full perimeter safer barriers around it as it should in real life. And when they did the Pro Invitational update a couple of years ago, they didn't update it as they did everyone else. So when you exit the corners here, the safer barrier tapers off, and then on entry, it tapers back out. So if you kind of hit it the wrong way, it actually is easier to hit the wall here on the straightaway than you would imagine.
Yep, and if anybody out there knows how I drive and how I race, you know that I'm one of those guys that I will find a way to hit the wall on the straightaway. And most of those tracks where I do it are the ones like you're saying, where that safer wall, that safer wall that I think Corey Mott just met personally there, it pops up and then it disappears. So you kind of lose track after a certain amount of laps, and then all of a sudden, oh, now the wall's there, and you hit it.
It does it at Kansas. It does, as we come to the end of the stage here. I know it does it at Kansas. It does it at Vegas. It used to do it at Daytona. So a lot of these tracks have not been updated, but that's a rant for another topic here. But this is the white flag for the stage and points, but you don't need to be in this mess. But he wants to put as many a lap down, I guess, as he can. We already have 15 on the lead lap. Trying to see if he's going to play nice and let them be. And that'll be your stage winner. He managed to be up by 3.3 seconds. We're waiting for 9th and 10th to cross the line. DL Lemon in the 10th spot. And that should do it, and it will for our stage 2.
Right, and that's a good point there. You know, we didn't think about that at all. We were talking about, you know, maybe save your tires or whatever. If you're Lucas Hoytsma there, that would have been a good, really good thing there. If we went another 10 laps, he might have been able to put the top 10, you know, 10th place, 11th place, a lap down, which in the long run there kind of makes it easier if you want to pit or not, because now you have only 10 cars on the lead lap instead of 15 or 16. So I think Randy Drumhiller will end up being the last car on the lead lap, it looks like. Jared Bundy, I think, should be getting the lucky dog here. Maybe he just stayed on the lead lap as well. It looks like Bundy did just get to stay on the lead lap there, kind of that lift move by.
Cockrell is speeding around here, so I would infer that it's him, but could be wrong. Put a question mark at the end of that, because I don't know. But I'm pretty sure he is, because he is the only one speeding around at the moment. But let's see what happens with the pit road situation. Hoytsma is coming to pit road.
Yep, and I assume, you know, if he's coming down pit road here, he's probably going to take tires, which would leave him with one set. And I think a couple of guys here took those set earlier in the race, so a lot of these guys are going to be down to one set. But again, you know, 120 laps to go, one set, you should be able to get by on that. I was
going to try and grab him, but he has his microphone muted. Therefore, we would not be, I don't think he would be able to talk to us, so wanted to kind of get a word with him on that strategy call, but it will not happen. And that will give the lead to Thomas Wolfe. But we are going to take this moment. I know we have a brief secondary commercial here, so we are going to play this and be back with you for the restart.
Whether you are new to iRacing or a veteran, we all have the same goal: to go fast. Stint Analyzer is a tool that helps you collect data from iRacing sessions to compare lap times with others. Hot laps are one thing, but comparing yourself with others over a stint is what really matters. You can compare a stint one-on-one, graph lap times from multiple drivers, export data to Excel, compare setups and tire wear. It also has a spotter mode and allows you to quickly review your incidents in a session. Also included is some simple overlays to help you plan out your pit strategy and compare one stint to another. And last, but not least, but it also has built-in Discord integration to allow you to share data and race updates. Download Stint Analyzer at stintanalyzer.com.
Stint Analyzer, another partner here with the Division 2 campaign. Kudos to them for that. And now we are on one to go, with Thomas Wolfe being the Lone Ranger to stay out. 38 lap old tires on that number 43 Ford Mustang Rain total. I can't quite read it from a distance here, but that is going to be what we have. And of course, Hoytsma did pit. He burnt that extra set of tires for the stage, and let's see what's going to happen here in the Geico restart zone. Wolf's going to get on that accelerator. Hoytsma did a modest job there on the outside, and more importantly, he is ahead of John Delaney. Can he stay there on the long haul? Green flag is out, and already Wolf is getting annihilated.
Yeah, and I'll say Wolf did a great job in that stage. He stayed top 5 the whole stage, even on those 25 lap, I think 30 lap old tires to start off compared to these guys. So, like I said, that was the main idea, right? You just want to maintain. That's all you want to do. Oh,
big wiggle there from that's Heitman. And he's going to shut the door on Taylor there, and Taylor is going to meet Wall. Now, I don't think that's going to make Jason too happy.
No, probably not. But
what's the number one rule on a short track? If you make somebody mad, drive away from him. So hopefully Heitman, for his sake, can do that. Thus far, he seems to be. And now it's going to be very curious to see if Hoytsma can hang on to the lead with Delaney. I don't know if that's going to be the case. We've got a lot of stuff going on here on track simultaneously. Mid-pack is, of course, right on each other's hair there, trying to get themselves situated. But Delaney has, he ate that gap, and, well, here he goes. So that fight lasted all of about 5 laps, but Hoytsman's going to use that outside lane for every last bit that it's worth.
Yeah, and if you're Hoytsma here,
don't hit the wall in the straightaway, number one.
Yeah, that's the one thing. You don't want to get wrecked here, I don't think. So you want to learn what you can do out there on the outside, how much you can hold someone off, and then maybe just let him by and, again, follow him, see if you can learn anything from what he's doing. We've seen him run, Jonathan run many different lanes this week. He's run the bottom, he's run the middle, he's run the top. So I don't know if it's really anything he's driving. It might just be the setup. It might, or be how he's driving that car.
Right to the rear bumper, a little bit of contact, and he's going to try it once more. He's going to go right to the inside. He got a really good bite, but can't sustain it on exit. He needs that real estate to go wash out to the wall, but Hoytsma has that wall, but here comes some traffic. William Brown in the 69. That's going to force Hoytsma down to the bottom of the track, and Brown is going to wall it. But look at the run. That's going to get Delaney here back to the inside.
Yeah, and we talked about it this whole race so far. Which side is better?
Delaney!
Do you want to be on the bottom? Do you want to be on the top? I'll tell you, I haven't really seen too many people get squirrely loose like that on the outside.
Let me ask you this, Jeffrey. You're the driver who knows a lot more about going fast than I do. That little power slide from Delaney, does that have a long-term effect on the tires with that heat spike?
So with this new tire, based on what I've seen with it, you might take you a couple laps to get it back cooled down and get back under you, but I think they've made it a little bit more reliable, a little bit more, a little bit more apologetic,
forgiving.
Basically. Yes, apologetic, forgiving. It shouldn't kill you for the rest of the run, but for maybe 5 or 6 laps here until he gets it back under control, it'll probably lose him a little bit of time, but it looks like he's already trying to fight back into that lead a little bit.
Tell you, Kyle Ammon, pretty good recovery. Remember, I think he was involved in the first yellow. Remember, I can't remember who it was at this point, but someone I think it was the 2, kind of shut the door on him, and he kind of set him afoot there and kind of spent most of the race, about 15th or so, but he has completely annihilated the competition and got himself up to 7th, so solid run there. But Hoytsma had about a half-second lead on Delaney. Now that half-second is now 0.4 of a second. Now, one thing I've been meaning to ask you, and I keep getting distracted on it, is aero push of any concern here at Bristol? I would think it is with the high speeds, but we've seen guys really been able to follow each other close, which would lead me to believe maybe not so much.
Yeah, I honestly think it's kind of just going to be what you have in that setup. I know I've run some races here where it is a really big deal. But with how the aero is with this car currently, if you can get a little bit extra negative rake in that car, give you a little bit more security, and let a little bit more of that air go under the car instead of through the car, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think you're going to be able to run right behind people. It might burn your tires up a little bit more being right up on somebody, but I don't think it's going to be as big as a deal as we've seen at the 1.5 miles this season.
Yeah, multi-groove to an extent, of course, is the number one thing that facilitates a lack thereof aero push debate here. But half second turns back into, you know, a quarter of a second, and this does work out for Hoytsma because, as we've talked about, that outside will murder your tires. So now that he gets to go back to the inside and kind of preserve a little bit of the rubber on that car, that will give him a little bit of a fight because he's going to have to go right back to the top and fight for all it's worth here. Well, basically now, because Delaney is right back there. But oh, he opened the door. Delaney going to the top. That could be the golden ticket there. But oh, whoa, they're fighting and making contact off the corner.
Yeah, these guys are, you know, this battle right now, you might see that tomorrow night. So these guys know who they have to beat, and they know tomorrow night they're going to have to probably try to beat each other. So they're trying to do it tonight, trying to see who has the better car, who can do a better job running the top or running the bottom. Obviously, looks like Hoytsma has really
$5
been using
off
the outside.
Any large pizza on your first order. Okay, I don't have a Casey's around here, but if you do and you want a pizza, $5 off if you order online for the first time. But Delaney really struggling to make that inside work, and you know, this is akin to Bristol pre-PJ1, where, you know, the progressive bank, they thought it was a good idea. They realized it turned it into a rim ride session. They had to put fancy glue on the bottom to make it work. So this is kind of old new school Bristol, if that makes sense, where it's really, 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 really hard to make the pass on the inside. You need all the real estate on corner exit, but you don't have it when someone's to your outside.
Right, and one thing I was going to try to say earlier, and I think we had a yellow happen, was this session, like you said, practice. Most of these weeks, you know, you have all week long to practice and official races. You have, you know, 100-something lap races to see how that car is going to feel in traffic, see how that car is going to perform long run. This week you don't have that, because in real life they're going to Bristol dirt. So all the sessions this week have been Bristol dirt. You know, earlier in the week, Damaris put up a couple for the concrete track, but I didn't see too many people out there running laps. So if you were fast here in the race back in September, most likely that setup's going to correlate back to where we are tonight. So I was just looking up the results, and, you know, in that race last year, Delaney led 140 laps of that race. Hoytsma was up there in the top 5 for a good portion of it until something happened to him. So these two were fast in September, and it's obviously moved over to them gapping basically everybody else. Jason Taylor now 2 seconds back from these two that are in a hard battle for the lead.
Yeah, and of course it was, so the original schedule that came out was that D2 was going to be on the dirt tonight, and then they would clean the track off virtually, and the big boys in 100% full distance would be on this exact concrete. But there was a last minute decision. I don't think they got the virtual dirt trucks loaded up in time, and said, nope, we're going to be on the concrete for both series here. And oh, here we come. We're going to add some lap traffic to throw into the bowl here and see how it comes out the other side. Wayne Grassi, he is going to stay to the inside. This comes into a situation where the lappers are like, where do I go? I mean, a Lucas Hoytsma, is he on the radio right now saying, Grassi, go here, Grassi, go here, I need this line? Or is it just, you know, kind of hope that they have the respect to give you the line that they see you running in the mirror?
Yeah, so this is I don't know if it's a strategy call or if something happened to force it to happen, but Wayne Grassi did just pit there. So he is on fresh tires. I expect him to probably quickly drive away from the leaders here. So he doesn't have to worry about the leaders, I would say. He's going to just take his time and try to get some laps back and try to get a decent finish out of this.
Yeah, lap traffic, of course, you know, you hear it at you hear it at a lot of tracks that the spotters in real life will, so they'll be, if they see the certain car, you know, coming up, you'll pass them in a few laps, that spotter is going to go right over and on the spotter stand and say, hey, give me the top. I don't want to run on the bottom. Please give me the top. And some guys will, some guys don't. It all just kind of matters individual basis. But it looks like that a little bit of breathing room, and I mean a little bit, I mean 1 car length. But it was interesting to note, as you said, Wayne Grassi to the pits now 5 laps down, so 4 laps down, so it has some serious issues. But 40 laps is the run that most everybody is on. And we have, 80? So we're going to be pushing about 130 laps if this does, to everyone's surprise, go green. So that will be well on the fuel load. But 130 lap tires, I mean, is there a chance we're going to be blowing right fronts on this?
Well, getting my information from the team.
Oh, never mind.
Never mind. You spoke it into existence there.
Commentator's curse. I'm just trying to create drama and have a close race and pull all the strategy cards. Let's see what we got here on replay. Whoa, that was a wiggle from Clifton Cockrell, and Bundy, just kind of an innocent bystander there. We'll get that from the chopper cam if I can cue it up. See the 40 car, the blue and white car on the outside. Bundy running to the inside. You can watch the 40 on the exit there. A little bit of a wiggle, and that wiggle just jot him down just enough to where the 2 was a innocent bystander.
Yeah, and that's a tough position there. You know, you're the car on the bottom. You expect the guy on your outside to go up to the wall, and that wiggle forced him to not go up to the wall. So another thing we talked about is this is what I think if you're Lucas Hoijma, you didn't want this. Obviously, you see him staying out there. He only has one set left, so 80 laps for one set. I just don't, it's tough to pit right there. All these other guys have 2 sets left. They're going to have an extra
coming to the pits. Delaney, basically, I'd say at least 12, 13 guys coming into the pits, and Hoijma, the Lone Ranger. So you know what this is? I can tell you exactly what this is. This is exactly. Everybody saw what Neil Pearson did last week, and they don't want to get Pearsoned again. They don't want one guy to pit right now, take fresh tires, the race goes green, and they get blew off into oblivion. Everybody wants to take that set of tires now so that they're not at a huge disadvantage if this thing does go green, which is a strong possibility.
Yeah, and the toughest part for Hoijma in this situation is he just witnessed the other side of this coin. 40 laps to go in the second stage there, he pitted, and he was like the only car that pitted and got those fresh tires, and he cut through the field like nice new warm butter. So he is probably not going to be too happy in that car, but you're just going to have to try to hold on to it. That's it.
His best case scenario here, as we have 15 guys on the lead lap, so the best case scenario for Lucas Hoijma right now is for this to go green 30 laps. Actually, let me take that back. Everybody else has tires, right? So everyone else should still have another set of tires on the wall. So actually, there really is. I was going to say maybe he can have the extra set of tires put on his car, but because he took that extra set, he needs a caution maybe in 20 laps or so. Maybe he doesn't fall back too far, but it's enough of a run that everybody else would want to come down and then get it back on even keel, and then everybody is out of tires. So I'm going to guess that's really the only thing. Maybe a caution in 20 laps, just long enough that it prompts everyone else to come down with him. Yeah,
this is a tough position to be in if you're Hoijma.
Lucas Hoijma live in YouTube chat. Quote, I'm scared. End quote.
Yeah, I can't blame him. Like you're saying there, everyone else has a set left, so it's not like later on in 20 laps or 30
remember,
laps.
He has a set left, but he's trying to level his game out so where they all have a set. But the only way to do that is for him to make this sacrifice because of what he had to do for the stage. So is that stage worth it in the long run? I guess we'll find out. But the green flag is in the air. A little bit of wheel spin that we did encounter there. DL Lemon also on the outside. He's on the same tire strat there. So we'll see if that 08 can sustain in any capacity as well. But John Delaney just eats them like a kid eating Lucky Charms for breakfast here. Just there he goes, one big bite, and he's gone.
And that's the tough position we're in here. These guys have those fresh tires. They're gonna nicely work their way by him.
Oh, I thought we had a 3 wide going there. Sorry.
He's gonna just have to fall in line the best he can. DL Lemon also stayed out there. I think he might be on the same situation tire-wise. So, you know, it's tough. DL hasn't been, you know, up there in the top 5 the whole race. He's had some running up front. He's had some incidents. So, you know, like you said, it's tough because all these guys have a set of tires left. It's not a situation where, you know, 40 laps to go, the caution comes out, Heitzma comes down, and all of a sudden he's going to drive through the field. Everyone's going to pit if that happens.
I have like 25 guys who filled out the data spreadsheet, and it's always the one guy that I focus on and pull it up that didn't fill it out. But Derek Heitman there, he is behind Tanner Marty on track. As you can see, Hoytsma on the struggle bus here. He is falling back. Clifton Cockrell getting by. And I think the worst case scenario would be, there's a strong possibility if this goes, you know, green maybe till even lap like 270, 280, Hoytsma might be struggling to stay on the lead lap, let alone stay in any kind of contention. Oh, never mind, caution, but that's going to be too quick to actually... This could be the Pearson card, I think. If he pits now, but I don't think there's enough wear on the tires to cause enough of a situation there. But let's check the replay out first. Damaris and DL. 1 and 2. Damaris to the bottom, DL to the top. DL took a really, really shallow line there. We'll get one more shot of that. Took a really, really shallow line off of the corner there. If I'm being bluntly honest. This is through 1 and 2. It'll be through 3 and 4 that we witness the wreck. Yep, pause it right there. So you would expect that he would probably be a little bit higher up the track. You know, all this real estate up here. But at the moment, just wasn't there. And Damaris got the short end of the stick there.
Yeah, that's a tough spot for Damaris. You know, like we said, you expect that guy on your outside to go all the way to the wall. And, you know, it's up to them to do that. They don't have to. You know, they're up there. They can run where they want to run. It's just, you know, common courtesy to go all the way to the wall. But, you know, we don't know if DL was struggling with the handling there. You know, we saw that incident earlier where someone, you know, the 40 car come off the wall, and you know, the guy on the inside has nowhere to go. You know, you just tail whap it a little bit, and boom, the guy's on your inside, and now he's in the inside wall. Obviously, Damaris ended up in the outside wall, but it's just tough because Damaris was having a good run. I think he ended up top 10 in the stage there, second stage. So we saw some good speed out of him tonight at times, but obviously not going to end how he wanted it to.
Yeah, not at all, but because he did end up getting damage from that. You could see there the lack there of a front end. If I can get a camera that is not absolutely terrible, which I don't think I'll be able to do. Oh, there it goes. Been a long time since we've seen a next gen that has parts missing off of it. So iRacing did some good there. But let's check Hoytsma's situation. Hoytsma did remain on circuit there, did remain on racetrack, so he did not come in and take that set of tires 9th spot. And for that matter, DL stayed on track as well. So DL has only pit twice. So based on the telemetry, wrong graphic, I meant to pull this one up. 2 pit stops. So by that logic, DL has 2 sets of tires in the bag. So I'd be using them up if I was him.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those two. You know, him and Thomas Wolfe. Those 2 cars have stayed out a lot today. Obviously, Wolfe now down 8 laps, but him and DL had stayed out multiple times during this race. I don't know if they were hoping they were going to get yellows towards the end, that they could use those tires or not, but it might work out if they get the yellows here in another 40, 50 laps.
We did a message in chat. Can I join this league? And Jeffrey given the information there, and I just love the name there, Spongy Ahoy. That name makes me happy. So, anyways, green flag is soon to be waved. Pace car pulls the car into the safety of the pit lane. Delaney on that accelerator pedal. Patrick Gitter did not get the best start, but it put him right on the bottom of the racetrack. He made himself enough of a gap, and that's what it'll be. Tanner Marty nearly in the defense there off of 2. Matt DeCunha trying to take advantage of that in the 0-4, and he will try to clear, and he'll do just that. Single file for about the top 10.
Yep, and this is the point where, you know, tension's going to start ratcheting it up. You know, you only have about 60 laps to go. We know how difficult it has been to pass here, and once the tires get worn off, I think it's going to be even tougher because the guys are going to start running the outside wall. They're just going to start basically holding each other off. So if you know you're faster than someone here on the short run, you want to get by them quick and try to at least get a little bit of a gap on them.
Yeah, I think we're hitting more walls on the straightaways than we're hitting in the corners here tonight, it seems.
Yeah, which, like we said, it's a tough situation. If you're on that outside lane, you want to try to give the guy room, but at the same time, you don't want to get pinched up there into the wall. So, you know, most of the time, would I rather hit the wall than wreck somebody? Yes. At a place like this, I don't know. That's a tough one to choose.
Got to take your picks there, but we are on lap number 240 here on the evening. So, according to my telemetry, again, just the nature of Bristol, we only got 15 minutes of racing left if this thing stays green, and John Delaney is, you get to see there on the long end of the shot there that it did look as though that Gitter starting to struggle there. Matt DeCunha started second, really hasn't run second very much here on the evening, but he's taking a look there to the inside, and all that outside by Gitter is going to have just enough to sustain, and Lucas Hoytsma back to 13th here. Falling back 4.5 seconds behind, and he is soon to be last on the lead lap.
And I think if you're Hoytsma right now, you've now learned what you don't want to do tomorrow night. You don't want to get stuck on, you know, 40 lap old tires compared to the rest of the field, because you're going to drop quickly, and if we don't get a caution probably in the next 15 laps here, he might be in jeopardy of going a lap down. So if you go a lap down, it doesn't matter how many sets of tires you have left, because you're not going to be racing for anything at that point. So if you're him, you probably want to yellow here within, you know, 5-10 laps. Probably everybody will come down, and then you can try to get something back before the end of the race.
Yep, and then he's going to have to not just, you know, try to stay on the lead lap, but he's going to have to drive back and try to get a, you know, solid run out of it versus where he would have been earlier, where he would have been right up there, maybe fighting with Delaney and trying his hardest to sustain for a win. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, he got the stage win. Is the stage, I mean, he's going to be asking himself this question after the race: was the stage win worth the position I put myself in for the end of the race? You know, it just all depends on his goal. Is he going for the championship in the league? Is he going for the full prize of Division 2? Or is it fully a learning curve for tomorrow night?
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's a tough situation because we got a lot of guys in the series that have been running, you know, weekly, consistently. One, like you said, learning about their car for Saturday night, but also running for their points championship. You know, coming into tonight, it looked like Adam Benefield, off his win last week, was leading the points with Matt Long in second. Neither one of them are here tonight. You know, they didn't show up. So Tanner Marty was third. Looks like he'll probably jump up into the points lead most likely. You know, we're talking about Hoytsma. Hoytsma isn't too high up on that list. You know, so I don't think he's here worried about points. He was back in 24th, almost 120 out. So I think he's more worried about learning about tomorrow night. And like I said, he learned what not to do tomorrow, only about 5 to 6 seconds now from being put a lap down.
Yeah, at this point, I think we have only about 7-ish full-time regulars in the series that have run every single race, and that will go down as Adam Benefield takes the first week off. And he actually told us last week that he was not looking forward to Bristol after what we saw at Richmond last week. So I guess not a surprise there, and that will give the lead probably to Tanner Marty, because Matt Long, he's not here either. So I know Matt Long had a big storm come through his area, and that took out the power, which is why he missed Saturday night. So, I mean, I'd hope that the power is back on at this point, but After big storms, you can never be too sure. That is Jacob Quayle headed in the wrong direction. And oh, there we go. That's going to be a caution. That's Jamie Knopf. No caution, but Jacob Quayle going to get right in the rear. We'll get a replay queued up, but I almost was certain that's going to be a caution, but we will. Barney clearly thought otherwise.
Yeah, that's a tough spot there, you know. He was having a good run there, Jamie was, so I don't think that was the tire that was flat. Maybe it was just
loose.
Just lost it.
Yeah, he never, again, it's all algorithmic at the end of the day, and you can see the 99, he was committed to the wall, couldn't avert from it. It's all algorithmic at the end of the day. And he didn't get sideways enough near another car to cause Barney to decide that a yellow flag was necessary there. So it looked like it was going to, but he saved it enough. But unfortunately for him, that is going to basically take him out of contention. He's still in the pits. I think he towed. I don't know if he has any intent to come back on the track here, but with 40 laps to go, we only have 10 minutes or so of action left in the affair here on the evening. And worth noting, Lucas Hoytsma, he's going a lap down.
Yeah, this is obviously worst case scenario because, yeah, you know, he's going to go a lap down. You know, the next car to go a lap down is probably about 10 seconds ahead. That's Randy Drumhiller in 11th. So he's got a while here so that the yellow could fall. The only issue with that is now he's going to be a lap down, which means he's going to get the wave round, which means he's going to be the last car in line for the restart. So not only is he going to have to pass back up from, you know, 12th to a top 5 spot maybe, he would have to pass probably another, you know, what, 7 cars, probably. Yep. 5, 6, 7 cars. So
that's why you'll see drivers fight so hard to stay on the lead lap genuinely, because although, you know, everyone's glad the free pass exists, it is, as you said, it's a lot to come back from. But, you know, he would need 2 cautions really in effect to get any sort of chance to salvage the evening. So the crew chief on the 07, don't know if it was an interim crew chief after a suspension, as we saw in the real world. We got backup crew chief being suspended down in the real world, but I don't think that crew chief is going to be very sought after or appreciated in the post-race meeting after this one. But again, that's what you learn for the big boy race tomorrow. But John Delaney up by 2 seconds, so John Delaney doing Delaney things, and much to everyone's surprise, maybe just because this is a short race in nature, if it runs green, he's running the whole thing here tonight. Usually he runs about 100, 150 laps on these Friday nights in Bales, but he is in for the long haul. But the long haul is only about an hour and a half, so this race really starting to fly by here, as we only have on the graphic. Let's take a gander. 9 cautions. Doesn't feel like that many, but that's what we have.
Yeah, we got a great race here for the 5th position. Kyle Ammon, after a couple incidents tonight, he is trying to hold off Jason Taylor here. Taylor, he started back there in 18th, so he's racing for a top 5 spot right now, obviously. Fast car there in that number 41 untied Rentnels Ford Mustang. He's going to be happy with what he's got for tomorrow night, I would say. Hopefully able to carry it around from today to tomorrow, but trying to get that 5th spot right now for Ammon with only about 30 laps to go now.
So I know we were talking about this, Jeffrey, earlier on. Ammon in the wall again. I think he has been in the wall a lot, and a little bit of a bump and nudge. Makes himself some space there, goes to the inside. And if there's one guy, oh, caution flag, and Hoytsma, free pass recipient, barring that he didn't get any contact. DL11. He
has been in many incidents tonight.
Yes, he is. Was. Let's see what happened to the Bitcoin Chevrolet. I don't think I could put him at fault for that one. We'd have to go on the chopper cam to get the definitives on that. Yeah, no, I think he was plenty high up. I think he was kind of pinched up there. With that Damaris that got pinched up there, but DL crashing more than the currency is. I can't make that joke more than enough times, but Lucas Hoytsma, free pass.
Yeah, I think, you know, right there, that's a tough spot for Lemon to be in. You know, he's all the way up there on the outside. Looked like he might have wiggled a little bit, and when these guys are running right on your quarter panel, there's no room to wiggle. So he wiggled a little bit, spun around, still going though. You know, no significant damage on it. So this is the caution that we were all waiting for. You know, we said maybe 50 to go, maybe 40 to go. It's going to be about 25. Everybody searching down the pit road. Obviously, Hoytsma will get his lucky dog, and then he'll join them. Possibly, maybe, you know, he says he's out and hopes there's a yellow at 10 to go and tries to get a difference on tires, or he'll take the tires here, and looks like he will be taking tires, I think. So we'll see. You know, everyone's going to be on an even playing field here. There's no more saving anything. It's just go, go, go.
I mean, this has to be glitched, at least in the moment, but it actually gave Lucas Hoytsma the lead temporarily. I don't know if he got black flagged or if he went too early or something, but the free pass should under no circumstance ever even show up as the leader, so I don't quite understand how that came to fruition, but maybe it's accurate. Must be. But he's going to get surpassed by everybody who is now making their pit stop.
Yeah, but I think that might just be due to the
super slow pit road here, perhaps.
Yeah, most likely the single pit road. You're just going so much slower, and especially with him getting the lucky dog there, he's going full bore, basically trying to catch the rear of the field. So nothing there. You know, Jonathan Delaney going to hold on to the lead with Getter in second and Matt Deciani in third. Then Derek Heitman and Jason Taylor getting that spot from Kyle Hammond. With those little bumps and taps that he was given the 25's bumper.
And we'll see, in the famous words of Larry Mack, trends to the race. Cautions breed cautions. So we'll see if that does come into effect. And one thing we were talking about earlier, Jeffrey, with the lines here, have you learned anything about what line you should be running here today?
Well, if you're on fresh tires, go anywhere. If you want tires to last, I think you're going to want to do what Delaney was doing there. You want to run like that bottom third of the racetrack just to take care of them. But I think it's going to really depend on how you drive and how good your setup is. If you can manage the outside, then you want to be up there. If you're Cody Bird and have a lead foot, then you don't want to be on the outside. So let's go green flag racing again. Jonathan Delaney, a huge jump from Getter. That outside lane, I know you don't want to be up there tomorrow night. That looks like that is not the place to be on these restarts.
We did see Getter choose the outside on one restart where he was the leader, so I guess that is probably the only situation that you'd want to be up there. But Delaney running the bottom by choice here now that he's in clean air. So I don't really foresee a circumstance in which John Delaney has anything happen to him, because he's just getting these amazing jumps. So unless the restart gods give him a black flag, I think this is in the bag here. But Lucas Hoytsma, I think he has a solid opportunity to get a top 10 out of this. He's fighting everybody on equal tires here, but he does have so much more native speed than everybody. Getting by Dustin Hall, who's 12 laps down, and that one car, someone sideways there, slideways, that is. Bruno Mello did a little bit of a drift there, but everyone continues on just fine. That puts Hoytsma up into the 9th spot, so probably a good recovery there. We'll see how high he can get. I saw some more smoke, but nothing happening there. Here comes Hoytsma going to the outside. Oh, he still can't get by Hall. Hall's fighting him hard for a lap down car.
Yeah, and we know Hall, like we said, he started on the pit road, so he started multiple laps down in this race. We haven't really seen how fast that number 1 car is this week so far. So, you know, if you're Dustin, maybe you're trying to test that out here. You want to see what you can do, see if you can hold up with Lucas. And they're trying to have another yellow to help Lucas get some extra spots, but so far we're still green racing with 16 laps to go.
It's a battle for second here, and basically every single time we go down the back, there's smokers. I don't know if there's a fire pit going off somewhere in the grandstands, but probably not in a stadium environment. But Matt DeCunha and Gitter having a whale of a battle there. And it looks like you can see the different lines at play and the different advantages and disadvantages each one provides here. 15 to go, only about 3.5 minutes of racing here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, all 1 second behind John Delaney. And it looks as though Matt DeCunha, who again started second, who has been up and down all day, really has never had a solid run to see what that car can do. But finally, towards the end of it, gets back up to a starting position.
Yeah, Matt, he's definitely a good driver. You know, I've run in leagues with him. I run an official race with him. To me, you know, he's one of those guys that he'll, you know, maybe if we have multiple stages of a race, one stage he might drive the hell out of it and just try to get the most he can on restarts and the most he can on short runs.
Oh, God,
then he drops
God.
back, and maybe Kyle Ammon trying to give a knock to the rear bumper of the 41. 41's trying to give a rear tap to the 76. Everyone's trying to give taps right now, I think.
Kyle Ammon, I mean, if we were relating drivers to real-world counterparts, Kyle Ammon kind of seems like the Jimmy Spencer of the league, if you will. If there's one guy I don't want to make mad, I've seen in the driver cam, Kyle Ammon looks like he's going to kill someone at every moment whenever he has a driver cam segment. So I would not want to have him get back to me, but I think Taylor is going to be able to pull away, as he is going to be side by side with Heitman, which may give Ammon a chance to collectively close back in on that duo. And I think the answer to that question is yes. Watch your rear bumper. Watch your rear bumper. Oh, it looks like Ammon's going to go high here.
Yeah, like you're saying, Kyle Ammon, compared to Jimmy Spencer, where did Jimmy Spencer cut his teeth early on in his career? Wheel and Modifieds up north. So Kyle Ammon, similar to that, you know, in real life, great fan of the Wheel and Modified, supporter of the Modifieds up here in the Northeast. So he grew up watching people like Ted Christopher race, who, you know, Ted Christopher, you know, some race drivers have that 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out rule.
This is going to be good right here. This is going to be good right here. Oh, I thought he was going to give him the retaliatory nudge.
There was that one bump that he told you I was there, and then that was it. You didn't get a second chance to get out of his way. So I think Kyle Ammon, you know, you learn from those things growing up, and he is beating that number 41's bumper off right now for the 5th position.
And he's going to go down to the inside of the racetrack, but that's going to be difficult, and because he can't get the run there. Not missing anything up front here as we're going down to 3 to go. I think that may be the last-ditch hurrah. Well, Taylor's going to try to get it back because he's going to give him the wall there. But John Delaney, you know, these kind of races, sometimes we just forget talking about the leader, because Delaney doing Delaney things, 145 laps. Him and Hoytsma basically led every lap of this race, you know, for the most part, less some strategy here and there. Hoytsma looks like he's going to get himself an 8th place on the evening here, but we're going to come to the white flag. As long as the caution doesn't come out in the next 800 feet, we're going to be fine, and we are going to be fine. That is the white flag lap. John Delaney going to take it to the bottom of the track. He's ran the whole race today. He got that experience, and that experience is going to show that you guys better watch out tomorrow night, because that 6 car is going to be on rails, and he's going to come off turn number 4, and he's going to get the D2 prize. John Delaney wins D2 here at Bristol.
Yep, and like we said, John Delaney was one of the fastest cars here. Matt DeCunha, though, started second, will finish second, and right behind him, some EPI teammates in Patrick Getter and Derek Heitman.
So we'll see what kind of celebratory activity Delaney does here on the front straightaway. He's going to do the donuts here, as some drivers are still trying to pass there on the racetrack, completing their race, but John Delaney going to burn it down here on the front straightaway, do some victory celebrations, and Bruno Mello interrupting it momentarily here. But while Delaney does that, let's go up and go down and give you the final rundown of results here today from the Bristol Motor Speedway. with the win here today in dominating fashion, none other than last season's D1 champion John Delaney. Matt DeCunha started second, finished second, but a lot happened in between. Good comeback to get to that point for him. Pat Gitter a solid third, Derek Heitman a quiet fourth, Jason Taylor finishes fifth with that battle with Kyle Lamb, and Tanner Marty a quiet run in seventh. Lucas Hoitzma had a second place car, but the strategy put him down to eighth, and then Bundy and Drumhiller recovers for a top 10.
In the 11th place, we had the number 40 of Clifton Cockrell. Remember, he got the lucky dog a couple times there. Bruno Mello in the 78 had some troubles on that last restart, lost it a couple times. He drops to 12th. DL Lemon gotten multiple incidents tonight, but still was able to manage a 13th place finish. Jacob Whalen 14th. Wayne Grassi in 15th. Damaris Hickenbottom had some speed in that car, was up there in the top 10. Ends up 16th tonight, though. Neil Pearson, all that luck he had last week, not followed through this week. He'll end up 17th. Thomas Wolf had some time up front. He ends up 18th. Dustin Hall in 19th. And Jamie Knopf in 20th.
And rounding out our grid, there's more than that. Let me restart it just to get everybody on screen. Sometimes if I open it a little bit too early, or I guess it just doesn't like everybody else. Technology be technology. Oh, there it is. I don't know why it likes them now. Sean O'Brien, he had some speed in his white car, 21st. William Brown, he T-boned somebody there for 22nd. Mott Dyson. Cody Bird in the 25th spot, and Dalton Mobley on the bottom of the caboose here on the evening. Now let's head right to Victory Lane, and I talk to John enough because I talked to him on Saturday nights. Well, I'll give you a shot at Victory Lane here. Keep it short because it's almost midnight. We'll bring John Delaney into Victory Lane here, and Jeffrey's going to talk to him.
Hey, John, you got us up here in the booth?
I got you guys.
Hey, John, you were up there a lot of this race. You started in the back, worked your way up to the front, had a great race there with Lucas. Just tell us about the race tonight. Starting from the back, having to work your way up, and once you got up there, it looked like you were pretty much free sailing.
Yeah, I had fun tonight. Surprisingly, I didn't think Bristol would be this fun. But once it goes green and tires wear off a little bit, and pace starts to slow down, it gets really fun. There's multiple lanes you can use. You can rip the wall, you can run the middle, you can run the bottom. There's a lot of different lanes and driving styles to this track, which is pretty fun. But man, the car was on rails. It was quick. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Right, so we talked about it during the broadcast there that most of these weeks you're one of those guys that'll run the first stage and then pull off, and you learn what you needed to learn for Saturday night's race. Was it just a matter of fun tonight, or did you want to learn something more that you ran the whole race tonight?
I was just having too much fun. Usually I'll do a stage or two just to get used to the car and figure out what I need to do for the race on Saturday in D1, and I was just having too much fun to quit and not finish the race out, because especially with that battle with Lucas, that was probably the most fun I've had this year racing somebody with this car and tire model. So yeah.
Right, so we're gonna have to see you guys tonight out here. Obviously, tonight you won, but tomorrow night you'll be racing again in the 100% series. What do you think about tomorrow? Do you think you're gonna have another rocket ship for that race?
Yeah, hopefully weather will be in the general same area. But yeah, I think we have a pretty good shot. Our teammates Sean and Jason were looking pretty good, so we just got to finish out the race. We keep a clean car, and I think we'll be in contention for the win.
All right, that sounds great. We'll see you tomorrow as well, obviously. Obviously you don't do this alone. You got people behind you that help you, so I'm going to lay out the red carpet and let you thank anybody to perform as good as you could here tonight.
All right. First of all, thank all the guys at Lockdown Racing. Big shout out to those guys. Thank you guys up in the booth for broadcasting. Tony Setup Shop, Stint Analyzer, Sousa Media, all my sponsors. Thank you, Kevin, for the paint and with Apex Designs. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Thank you as well, John. Congratulations on your win again, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night.
Thank you.
All right, and now I've got second place here. Matt, you got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, outside front row start here today, but, well, it didn't stay that way. You really had to fight and had some really, really difficult restarts early in the race, but ended up recovering and getting yourself right to where you started. So talk about, first off, how difficult were those first couple restarts? Did something happen, or was it really just kind of reading the timing wrong?
The first restart, I thought we were still going on green, even though we didn't have restart zones. So that one's on me. But yeah, but the other ones, yeah, I don't know. Just the gearing in our car is a little weird. It couldn't really run in first. It was a little too short. So yeah, it might be something to look at for tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's, of course, D1. That's what you're here for. You're getting that experience. But obviously Delaney doing Delaney things he pulled out there. But a lot of different lines here at play at Bristol. We saw guys ripping the fence, rocking the bottom, doing a little bit of in the middle, and a lot of different tire strategies. So given everything we saw, which was kind of a full plate, how much can you take out of this? And you got any changes to the plan for tomorrow now?
Yeah, definitely kind of learned a lot. I was glad we actually got some green runs in there just to kind of see what the fall off was going to be. But yeah, I mean, I kind of expected the car to do what it was going to do in the long run. I just really good information tonight about pacing, because there's a couple runs there where I probably paced a little too quick early, and I definitely paid for it. So just it's actually good information. I don't know what the weather's going to be like for tomorrow, but it was definitely good information.
And I got one more question for you. So we saw Lucas be one of the other dominators on the race, and he went for the stage, and that tire call bit him in the butt, went a lap down, had to get the free pass. Did you have any similar thoughts on tires, or did you end up using all your sets? Because those definitely were at a premium here on the evening.
Yeah, I wasn't. Me, Patrick, and Derek, and Brandy, my teammates, we kind of knew. We're like, no, we got to save the tires for the end, because yeah, if you have 30 laps on your tires and the rest of the field takes new tires, you're toast. So yeah, we kind of knew he was in trouble with the race. We had a caution like that, and it happened that way.
Yeah, we kind of said it here in the booth. I think everybody took out a Neil Pearson's book last week and said, we're not going to get Pearson again. I think that's kind of caught him off guard. But either way, solid run here in D2 for you. Who do you want to give a shout out to, man?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for calling the race. Shout out to my teammates. We had a 2-3-4 EPI finish there. So, I mean, we got some speed to this week. Brandy also finished 10th, so it was a good job there. But yeah, thanks to EPI and Michael Conti, always giving us good sets.
All right, sounds good, man. We'll see what you can do in the big dance tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, guys.
And now third place, number 21, Patrick Gitter, and Jeffrey's got him.
Patrick, it's Jeff up here in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you, Jeff.
Well, Patrick, we saw you up front most of this race. You were kind of the next car after Lucas and Delaney. Just walk us through your race here tonight, how you thought the racetrack performed. I know a lot of these guys already saying after the race that it was a really, really fun race. What was it from your view?
Yeah, man, I was really impressed, with the green flag runs. First off, I was really just wanting to see how the car was going to react in the long run. If it was going to tighten up or loosen up on 60-70 lap run. Guys were given room, which was really good to see. But it was interesting. I mean, for me, it was try to hug the bottoms, save tires, and then towards the end of a run, try to make up some ground where you could. And it was just keeping an eye on guys. I mean, Lucas was fast all race. I think he just had an unfortunate situation with tires. Obviously, Jonathan was really fast. It was just trying to stay behind him. But yeah, it was a really good race. I was impressed. I mean, Bristol, you think there's going to be a bunch of cautions, but it wasn't the case tonight. So I was happy to see that.
All right, and we were happy up here in the booth as well to see that. A lot of green flag racing, a lot of green flag passes. Also tonight, it looked like from your perspective on the racetrack, 300 laps done here tonight. For tomorrow night's race, the 100% D1 race, what do you think is going to be the preferred lane? Do you think there's going to be one better over the other?
Man, I think it's just going to be, kind of a case-by-case deal. It's going to be based on where you're at in the run. I mean, if you're 30 laps in to a long 70-lap run or so, based on your pit strategy, then I think you're going to see guys trying to hug the bottom to save tire, and then guys are going to try to pass on the outside whenever they need to. But I just think here at Bristol, this is a pretty abrasive track. If you try to run up top too long, you're going to really wear your tires out. So I think it's going to be a situation where it's really going to come down to just a combination of things. I think it's going to be a really exciting race to watch. Obviously tonight and also tomorrow night, you're going to have lap traffic issues. You're going to have pit strategy differentiation. You're going to have tire wear challenges, really all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be fun. I really think a couple of things are really just going to be, again, the tire wear management and the pit strategy.
Right. And that's going to be, obviously, we saw that bite Lucas Heusman tonight. EPI, you guys obviously very fast, 2, 3, 4 tonight. Obviously putting a lot of work in. Team Conti helping you guys as well. Is there anybody else you want to thank for this third place run tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I really just want to thank, like you said, Elite, Performance Industries, EPI, Team Conti, and my teammates with Elite here in this series. I mean, they do a good job every week. We have a lot of really good communication back and forth. So really just want to give a shout out to them. Also shout out to our co-sponsor Martin PC. They have some really good products for sim racing, accessories, really whatever you could ask for, they can hook you up. So shout out to them. And also C12 Designs wasn't able to run their paint tonight, but I'll have their paint on the car tomorrow night for 100%. That's Colby Whipple. He runs the shop there. He does a really great job with the paints. Just keep an eye out on the paint for tomorrow night. But again, just good work from the team overall. And I think we're gonna have some fast cars tomorrow night to show out.
Right. Hopefully you do. I know obviously last week wasn't what you ended up wanting to have at Richmond. So, you got a good front end tonight. Hopefully the momentum carries you to next week. And again, congratulations on your third place finish.
Awesome. Yep. Appreciate the broadcast, guys, and what you do.
Appreciate that sentence, man. And that's a broadcast. So a little bit quicker than it was last week. Get this whole thing done right in 2 hours. So we make the TV window just in the nick of time. So always fun to see that. A quick race here. Good racing. Solid runs. A multi-groove track on iRacing. I mean, Jeffrey, we don't get to say that too often anymore. So a great show, and we'll see how it translates into tomorrow night on 3Wide TV.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna see a whale of a race tomorrow night. You're gonna have most likely 40 cars out here. You're gonna have a lot more lap traffic. I think you're gonna see a lot more bump and runs, most likely. So we saw some clean racing tonight in the It's Not Soup, It's Stew 300. And I expect we're going to see a lot more racing tomorrow night with a 500-lap race.
That is my unofficial day with a race. Admin did not give me permission to say that, so hopefully they thought it was funny. And we're going to see you in the driver's seat tomorrow, man?
Sadly, I will not be in the race tomorrow night. I got to be probably in the booth. Not in the booth with you guys, but in the booth with some of my drivers. I know Cody's going to attempt to make the race tomorrow again. I got to teach him how to not kill the right front, which is strange because I'm usually the guy that does that. So I'll run some laps with him tomorrow night. We got Mark Paget. He'll be fast. He's always good at the short tracks too. So we're gonna wish our guys strong finishes tomorrow, and you might see me back in it for probably Talladega. I would think I'll be back behind the wheel Saturday night.
And we'll see what happens there, and we'll see what happens. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Help us grow on our goal to hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, one at a time. We're getting there very slowly. Hopefully we can get to it very soon. But that's Corey and Jeffrey signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.